Welcome back to Native Honor Hours. I'm Ed Zendejas.
I'm Cindy Krafka. We're happy to be here.
It's been a while since we've been on the air. A lot of things have happened.
Our crack, the only one who knows how to run anything, has been a busy fellow. Kenny's busy. We're all dancing to Kenny's tune.
It's not all on Kenny. I recall
a
week or two when.
Well, you know what though? Let's put this out to all the women in the audience.
We don't have to.
If they contacted you at 5 minutes to 3 and said, do you want to do a show today? Could any of you have had a full face of makeup, blow dried, jewelry, and an ensemble? No, these things take time. You men cannot pull the last 5-minute deal on me.
No, we told you.
No,
and Kenny won't back because he doesn't want to get in the middle of all this. But we have written confirmation that you were notified a week in advance.
See, we shouldn't do that. We should notify me 2 or 3 days in advance. A week, it's gone.
You just forgot. But anyway, we're back, and a lot has happened. And
first of all, it's Native Heritage Month.
It's Native American Heritage Month.
A lot going on all over the country. Tonight at UNO, there is a talk by Susan. I'm not sure on her last name, so I'm going to say Gallega. Am I right, Kenny? Yay. And if you go on Facebook, there's a lot of colleges all over the country doing Native Heritage Month events on Zoom because of COVID. So you could really do and see a lot of things.
I was going to say we haven't planned anything this year because all the cool stuff that we did, there's still COVID restrictions. You know, we used to do the film festival. I mean, there's talks where we're limited in how many people we can bring on campus. And as you well know, I do not want to be the one that says, oh no, you can't come because there's not enough seats or there's not enough. I don't want to do that. I don't want to turn.
We never will. I never will.
So rather than risk having to tell members of the community that, oh, sorry, you can't come to this tonight because there's only so many seats. I can't do that. So I'm not. I mean, meaning our program, Tribal Management and Emergency Services, is not, going to sponsor any events this month. But hopefully once
all my memories on Facebook are film festival. Our last one was 2017 with Ernie Webb.
Yeah, I got, oh no, it was Michael Gray Eyes.
2018 was Gray Eyes.
Michael Gray Eyes was the last one we had, and he's blown up.
And of course, Gary.
Yeah, we always have Gary, but actually Gary and Michael Gray Eyes have blown up. They're just getting huge.
Really?
Yeah.
I messaged Gary. He says he'll try and come. He's got some things scheduled for spring of 2022, and he'll try and work us in.
Try to work us in. Come on, Gary. Come on. We'll get him here.
But he meant it in the kindest and gentlest way. He's just sweet.
Yeah. Anything else you know of for Native American Heritage Month?
Colleges all over are doing Rock Your Mocks Day. There's at UNO, there's a Rock Your Mocks Day. There's a talk by Susan Gallega. There's a Indian Taco Day at a restaurant that I cannot think of the name of. But if you go to the Intertribal Student Council page on Facebook, it's got flyers listed with everything they have. And I think I have it listed on my Facebook page too. If not, I'll share.
This sounds sort of like the old Gretchen's Garage, where she or Cassie used to do the community update. But
yep, Mox.
But it's Native American Heritage Month, 12 months out of the year for us. There's always something going on, usually, if COVID hasn't wiped it out. But we also have a lot to talk about. There's been some things happening both locally and nationally that maybe you want to touch on real quick. I know we probably have a really strict schedule today, so if you don't mind, I'll lead into some of the big things locally here that we.
Well, then let me just quick add something, and then I'm content to sit back and let you go. It's Thanksgiving month. tonight at 5:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 Central Time. They're doing a talk on Thanksgiving and the Wampanoag Indians that I think would be really well. As we all know, the Wampanoags were the tribe that were murdered by the Thanksgiving Story Pilgrims. But I think it'll be a real interesting talk. And I encourage everybody, when you're thinking about Thanksgiving, look up the real story. Tell your children, tell your grandchildren. Now I'm done.
I don't think you can actually do that because it's pretty violent. So it's kind of hard to give kids real history, especially when it involves, Native and Indigenous people, because it's pretty gruesome sometimes. And sometimes
we learned it and we're fine.
Yeah. Well, no. You and I, we grew up pilgrims. Everybody shared a meal. We didn't get the real story. So
well, I did from my mom.
Well, what I'm saying is, we grew up at a time when we got the really nice, pilgrims, Indians get together, share a meal kind of. We didn't get the real story. And much like most of the other history that was taught during our generation, we didn't get the real story. So now we're trying to do that. We're trying to tell the story of what actually happened from an Indigenous point of view. I wanted to go into a couple first locally here in Nebraska. Word was released yesterday that Larry Wright Jr., chairman of the Ponca Tribe of Nebraska, has stepped down in that role and is going to accept some big job. We don't know what it is, but I don't want to speculate on what it is. I'm sure one of these days he'll announce it. We'll find out. But I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to Larry Wright Jr. He's been an outstanding leader for his people, and they've accomplished much under his stewardship. And from a personal standpoint, they were the ones, the Poncas under Larry Wright Jr., that reached out, or when we reached out to them to help co-sponsor our conferences here on campus, were a great resource to us. We would not have been able to get those conferences funded without the cooperation of the Ponca Tribe of Nebraska. So we appreciate all that they've done. There are a lot of things that Larry Wright Jr., Chairman Wright, has done, and he should be congratulated and Indian of the Week at the very least. And once again, give him a shout out for his work in the emergency management area. And I have to say, under his leadership, he put a great deal of emphasis in that area. And it showed because I believe they were the only tribe here in Nebraska that were able to request a presidential disaster declaration. And if anybody's taken my classes knows that it is extremely difficult to do that because of the bureaucratic nightmare that
paperwork that high.
Paperwork more higher than that. So in order for them to pull that off, they had to have the infrastructure, the knowledge, the people, and the backing of government to do it. So from that standpoint,
and he was just a nice guy. Larry's just a nice guy. It's unusual to find someone that's humble. Like, he was very humble, always took time to visit with anybody, wanted to hear everybody's stories. I think it's going to be a big loss for the Ponca.
Well, maybe we'll, once he makes the announcement, maybe we'll try to see if he can come on the show and be a guest. How's that?
Great idea.
So for Indian Native of the Week, Larry Wright Jr., I don't know when his resignation is official. It might have been yesterday. I don't know. But we certainly want to recognize him for his service to not just the Poncas, but to all of the Native community, because we well know that the clinic that the Poncas have services all tribes in the urban areas. So they've done a great work and should be recognized.
He opened a lot of our Wobbly Sapa powwows too.
Help with that. So there's a lot of things that he's done, and in support of some of the initiatives we've had here at UNO. Another one I would like to recognize is when we talked about Brother Gary, but Graham Greene. Graham Greene was
right on. I saw that.
I think it's sort of the equivalent to the we have the Oscars here in the United States, and it was an award from the Canadian film industry. I think it's sort of similar to what Wes Studi got from the Oscars here, and he was awarded, given that award, I think just a couple days ago. I just saw an article about that, and I say that because Graham was one of the more gracious. Not all of them were. I mean, all of them were great. Graham stayed for he shook every hand, sat for every movie, had a meal with the circle of grandmothers.
Graham is the only one that the grandmothers brought the meal to him.
Yeah, and not to say that the other one, I'm trying to cast any negative light on them for, going out to the restaurant to eat, but Graham stayed in those seats all day long, and he was
and he stayed till the last person got their autograph.
Took pictures, shook hands,
unusual.
autographs. So, and I have to say, all of them did that. But usually, they stepped out for a meal, went back to the hotel, and came back to answer But Graham, all day long, both days that he was here, and he just made a lot of good friends here. So I just wanted to give Mr. Graham Greene a shout out for his recognition for his stellar career, and hopefully there's more to come. But
I think you and I spent most of our time at Film Festival trying to find Gary Farmer.
No, that was my job. Remember, you were supposed to take people from the community. Complain about, I don't know, I don't like that film. How come you guys aren't doing it? So Cindy did all that while I went to eat.
My favorite was I showed Gary the agenda for the day, and he looked at it, he goes, nope, not doing it, turns around and starts to walk away. And I'm sitting there with my mouth open. I ran in and found Dad. I said, you are responsible for finding Gary Farmer. He just walked off and headed that way. After the film, he was sitting in the front row.
Yeah, surprised us both. I was ready to walk up to, this next segment is canceled. We can't find Gary. And sure enough, we walk in, turn on the lights. He's right up front, ready to go.
We did have some wild times, me more than you, because you always left with the talent to go feed them, and I had to stay and deal with the community. Thanks, Ed.
That's what I was saying. You put up with a lot of stuff. Appreciate that. But I also want to get into, if it sounds like I'm rushing,
we got a meeting.
Have a meeting, and Cindy's threatening to walk out, so I have to. There's been a lot going on in the country, and a lot of it centered on just people doing just knuckleheaded stuff. Ignorance. First was, I don't think we've focused on this since we've been away, but there was that teacher, the math teacher that put on the paper, and did the little war whoop and stuffing around in the school, and a native student filmed it. I think, Kenny, didn't we post that on our website? I think yeah, so we nominated her, and apparently she got suspended with pay, or administrative leave with pay. I don't know what's going to happen. Probably just going to say don't do
nothing's going to happen.
Don't do that anymore, and you'll be fine. But I think she got the message loud and clear, don't you? Not to be doing that anymore. And we'll see what happens. But the other thing that's been going on, and if you are a sports fan of any sort, know that the baseball has in their playoffs, and they just finished with the World Series, and it featured. I'm not going to call them. I'm going to say the baseball team from Atlanta. I have to say, I was rooting against them. I mean, I don't. There's few things that annoy me more. You're one of them. But another thing that annoys me is that
he's talking to you, Kenny.
No, I know who I'm looking at. That tomahawk chop. I hate that. Hate it. If people only knew it, but they don't. And that's all part of this. But
Let me tell just a real quick story in here. I used to work at the Famous Dave's in Bellevue. And one Friday night, my boss came running in the backyard, grabbed my coat and purse and handed it to me and said, Cindy, just go. In the middle of the shift, I haven't closed out tables. I have money. He says, just go. We'll worry about your money in the morning. I said, what's the matter? He goes, no, 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 no. Just go, Cindy. I want you to go right now. And I said, why? What's the matter? And I walked out. There was the Nebraska, the Omaha team that has the native mascot was sitting there doing the tomahawk chop. My mouth dropped open. My boss grabbed me around the waist, spun me around, and I just left. I was ready to go on every single person in that restaurant.
Well, and as a sports fan, there's nothing more annoying than to me than when these teams have the spotlight of the playoffs, and in this instance, the World Series. Some people follow baseball a little bit, but when it comes to actual World Series, a lot of people pay attention. And that's probably the only time many people will focus on baseball anymore. Well, the team from Atlanta makes it to the World Series, and sure enough, you get this, and all through the playoffs, you've seen it doing. I just hate that, but there was a focus on it. They asked the president of Major League Baseball. I think his name is Manfred. And he makes just the asinine statement. Oh, it's not an issue. I think that Atlanta has handled this well. They have reached out to the tribal community in Atlanta, and they're all fine with it, and it's not an issue. It doesn't matter that this is a national issue. This isn't just limited to whoever's sitting in the stadium in Atlanta. And it's not as if the team from Atlanta is named after a specific tribe. It uses a generic Indian mascot, so it's not specific just to the Cherokees. They are symbolic of all Native communities. So you can't say this is an Atlanta issue, and did so despite the very day the National Congress of American Indians putting out a statement saying, this is wrong. Don't we should baseball. You should discourage this. You could, and just ignored an organization that consists of over 25 indigenous Native nations, and just said, no, this one incident. And I have to say, see, this is my rant that's been pent up for a couple of
rant, brother, rant.
The tribe in that area that they have been working with so well. It wasn't, 2 years ago, I read an article in Sports Illustrated where the leader of that tribe said, oh, that's bad. I'm offended by that. And then it's been within the last year and a half, since summer of last year and everything's happened. They start spending a little money for some good. And now that same leader of the tribe says, they're not so bad. I'm not offended by that. I don't know why. Yeah, you throw some money your way, or you change your tune a little bit. So he's Manfred or whatever you're in Major League, you're a knucklehead. You don't sit there and say, oh, just because in this isolated incident, it's not a problem. Atlanta has done well. No, you haven't. They need to get rid of that, their mascot. They need to, what their mascot used to be, what they called their mascot? It was, the actual mascot they used to parade around. It was Chief Nakahoma. Yes, that was bad.
That was really bad.
Yeah.
The thing is, I heard it explained in a really good way. Native Americans are here today in 2021. All the stereotypes and everything point to Indians 200 years ago or the dead Indian. It's hard to say we are here in 2021. We are in Congress. We are all over, but you're going to look at us as Chief Wahoo or as a brave. And if someone tells you it's offensive to them, believe them.
It's
Believe them.
and you know what? To me, it's not about being offensive. It's about being informed. It's about understanding things. It's about perpetuating ignorance and stereotypes. We are viewed as invisible and not here anymore or irrelevant because of the way that we have been treated. Always.
Well, and you know how you know it's offensive? Because the ex-president of the United States proudly stood up there and did the tomahawk chop. That's how you know it's offensive, right there, right off the gate, right over the door.
See, and like I said, I don't even care about. I mean, I do care about the offensiveness, but to me, it's the stereotypical what they think we did. We didn't do that, and if they knew what the symbolism behind that, but they don't care. And
No.
as you mentioned, you know, the former, and we can say former. I don't think in his mind thinks it's former, but the former president.
On this show, we believe he lost.
Oh, I think it's pretty definitive that he lost. But the video of that is just, you can tell he doesn't even know how to do it. He was like a robot, and it was I don't even want to mimic what he did, but you can tell. You know, I'm going to do this to let my, my base know that I'm not giving
that I'm all for racism and misogyny.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty much what we're saying right there.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I agree with that. So it's knucklehead. The Christy Nome. There's a lot of knuckleheads out there.
Do you think Christy Nome's gonna get nailed on the actions being taken against her?
I don't know. I don't care. All I know is that they're knuckleheads, and they really don't care that they're knuckleheads either. So long as you can, you know what? I think they get more political credibility with their base the more knuckleheaded they are. So
natives vote too. I'm just saying.
It's not a deterrent to them to be called a knucklehead. They probably would say, oh yeah, those the liberals can call me that. Let's see, I'm
and we all know you're not a liberal. So really, if they said that,
I don't think everybody knows that. I'm not saying I'm more middle
conservative. You're very conservative.
In some areas not. No, I would not be considered that. I'm officially registered as an independent.
Are you?
Yes.
Wow.
But anyway, so those are the knuckleheads. You got anything else? I think I.
No, but I will say that
ranted out here.
I just want to say, please, people, get vaccinated. Get your kids vaccinated. We've lost a lot. We're having a Circle of Grandmothers meeting on Saturday, and it's going to be such a small group because of so many people we've lost this last year. So please get your vaccination. Be safe. We don't want to kill any more elders. Our little ones are at risk. Please get vaccinated. Be safe. And if you're not, stay 6 feet away from other people. Wear your mask. I work at a spice store, and every single day I work, I'm getting screamed at by anti-maskers, and it doesn't have to be. It's not a political issue. It's a health issue, is the way I look at it.
I don't understand. I do understand, but you're getting yelled at when you're just humble.
I just work there. I just work there.
Bee.
I've been called horrible names. I have been, someone took their mask off and threw it at me.
Anybody that calls, I'm the only one that gets to call you horrible names.
I know.
Anybody else could call you horrible names but me. Maybe Kenny.
No, just Ed. You're the only one allowed to mistreat me
calls
quite
you
badly.
Names to me. Kenny can't say a bad word about anybody.
No. I don't know. I think he could. If pushed hard enough, he would laugh first, so we all thought it was a joke, though.
No.
Well, we'll be back next week. We're gonna anybody they'd like to see on our show? Any guests they'd like us to try and get? I'm working on Sharice Davis.
I think we have an affirmative on James LaPointe, the new you and Gretchen, the position you and Gretchen had. I talked to him today, and he's affirmed for next week. Said, mark me down. I said, all right. So we're going to get, for those of you in the local community here, we're going to have the new, what's the title again? Did they change it?
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's the native outreach.
I don't know if, I don't think, I used to be Native Outreach
Community.
Coordinator. I think they've rebranded.
Whatever it is, the fellow that plays the guitar is going to be on the show. But we're glad that we're back. And if you have if you see anything knuckleheaded, anything good, anybody that needs to be recognized, please feel free to let us know. We'd like to give them a shout out if they've done something good. And if they've done something knuckleheaded, we like that even more, don't we?
I also think we should share the picture of the tribal chairman that thinks it's okay for them to do the tomahawk chop. Let's help make him famous. Kenny, could we put him up on our Facebook page? And I encourage all our listeners, if you disagree with him, please let him know.
But anyway, that's all we have for this week. Well, we do have more, but
Kenny, always good seeing you. Ed, it is what it is.
It is what it is, sister. We'll see you. We'll see you next week. Next time,
bye,
put makeup
everybody.
on, Cindy. You know, get yourself ready for next week.
I am. Hey, listen, I got makeup on and blow dried. What did you do?
Really?
Yeah. Oh. Goodbye, everybody.
We'll see you next week.